It can be really difficult to pull the trigger on big lifestyle changes. I know this to be true for myself when I quit my job of 10 years just a couple of months back. There can be all sorts of things that hold us back, whether that's social pressure from others that are nearby, myths or scripts that we tell ourselves in our head, or just kind of getting comfortable with the familiar. But understanding when and how to pull the trigger on big lifestyle changes is an important part of anyone's journey. And that's why we're talking with Anders Skagerberg today, also known as the Coast-Fi guy, because he learned of a concept called Coast-Fi and used it to radically change his lifestyle and build his best life today. So this video is going to be a little bit different than our last couple of videos. We're going to actually interview Anders, sit down with him, and ask him a few questions about his journey.
We kind of started to reimagine our financial independence plans. I needed to find another way to cover our living expenses that wasn't going to demand 60 hours per week. So we could start coasting to financial independence and just take our foot off the gas and start enjoying life a little bit more. My name is Anders Skagerberg. I go by the Coast-Fi guy, and I'm 31 years old. My wife Paige is 30, our daughter Ruth is 2.5, and then our son Finley is just born, and we've been coasting to financial independence for like the last 2.5 years. I heard about Coast-Fi would have been August of 2020, right around the same time Ruth was born, after pursuing the FIRE movement for probably 6 to 7 years, something like that. And I just heard about it listening to the Choose FI podcast, and Jess from the Pioneers came on and was talking about this new path to financial independence that was a lot more flexible, a lot slower, but more sustainable. And it really hit me that it could be a good option for me and my family when I heard that. So we had been pursuing FIRE pretty aggressively before that. And when we heard about Coast-Fi, it was really just a chance for us to take a step back and say, what could this look like in our lives, and could this be a good fit? Not that we knew necessarily we wanted to coast to financial independence when we first heard about it, but we at least wanted to look at it as an option. Coast-Fi is reaching a point where if you never saved another dime and all you did was let your investments grow and compound in the background, it would still give you a comfortable and secure retirement at a future date. And that future date is different for everybody. We're kind of targeting a 60 to 65 future date, but for other people, they might move that up a little bit and say, hey, I want to be financially independent at 55. So it's very flexible. You can adapt it to your lifestyle, but really the concept is you kind of front load the investments and then you just let that grow and compound for decades while you work flexibly to cover your living expenses today. I like to say it's a much more sustainable approach to financial independence. It's not a rush. There's no hurry. We just get to a high enough point that we can kind of just coast on into the finish line. So.
Hey, real quick, before we continue with the interview, if you guys are liking this interview with Anders, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed, and leave a comment below if you know of someone that would like to be interviewed in this series.
When we heard about Coast-Fi, Paige and I decided, okay, let's lay out everything that we've planned on doing. Let's lay it all out on the table and let's see what still makes sense for us and what doesn't with this new bit of information. So we really looked at it, and at the time I was working way more than I had ever wanted to, but of course I was doing it because I wanted to reach FIRE as quickly as possible. But then when we laid everything back out on the table, we realized, okay, with Coast-Fi, it's not necessarily about reaching FIRE as quickly as possible, so maybe I don't need to be working 60 hours per week. So that led us kind of down a rabbit hole of a series of discussions and conversations about, what if we did do this? What could that look like in our lives? And we kind of started to reimagine our financial independence plans. And luckily around the same time, Ruth had just been born and I had 6 weeks of paternity leave. So that was really, it felt like a chance to kind of test drive a slower lifestyle and we really fell in love with it. Thinking back to that time, every day we'd go on a walk in the park, we'd go look at the ducks, we were just hanging out as a family, and it was so much fun and it was so relaxed that we decided, hey, this could be a good option for us.
What I find most inspiring about Anders' story is that he learned of this concept called Coast-Fi, and then very soon after he began to reimagine his career so that he could maximize his time with his family. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't seamless, and it has evolved over time, but he took action immediately. I asked Anders to share a little bit more about his journey, and here's what he says.
Yeah, we've been coasting since, I guess, like September of 2020, something like that. And the journey has been fun, but it's definitely been a journey. It's like there's always what you draw up as a plan and what you imagine, which is like, you know, you're at point A and I'm gonna get to point B and I have this perfect, beautiful line between the two. But the reality is like you're just on this winding path, kind of figuring things out as you go, which is so fun in hindsight, but sometimes in the moment it's a little bit scary or a little bit challenging. But yeah, the journey really began with me downshifting my work and starting seasonal tax prep, which I did for a couple years, but this most recent season I ended up dropping it because I've gotten busy enough with my freelance writing. So work has been fun. It's been fun to be self-employed. It's been fun to do seasonal work and just all these different things that I never thought of myself as like an entrepreneurial person or anything like that, but it's been really fun to discover work that I enjoy doing and then just getting better at doing it and getting paid more to do it and setting my own schedule. That's been really the coolest part of it all. And then I would say like definitely another big part of our Coast-Fi journey has been raising this amazing daughter that we just love spending time with. And I just feel so lucky as a young dad. I look at all these other young dads and they're not spending a fraction of the time that I get with my daughter on a daily basis. I just feel so fortunate to do that. And now with our son as well, I'm like, I just feel really lucky to have even found this concept and to have been on this journey at this point in my life that I can spend so much time with my kids every single day. That's been really, really cool. And then another piece of it too is just getting to enjoy travel. Where we live here in St. George, it is unseasonably hot in the summer, like 110 degrees, like you don't want to go outside, you just sit inside with the AC on. So we've decided that we want to try and travel for the bulk of the summer, every single summer, and we've been pretty successful at doing that so far, and we hope to continue that. And I really think that's only possible because we're coasting to financial independence. If I was still working at the same job 60 hours a week, I would be pulling my hair out if I was trying to travel and work and do all these other things. So that's definitely been a kind of a fun part of our journey, as well as all the travel we've gotten to do. We did a really fun road trip up the coast of California, all the way from San Diego. We actually ended in Portland, Oregon. We just drove all the way up the coast for like 6 weeks, and that was so fun. And then last summer we were able to go to France, and this summer we've got plans as well that we're really excited about. So I think that's been a cool part of the journey, is just getting to get out. And once you slow life down, you can even travel a little more slowly and, you know, go to a place and enjoy it and see it for what it's worth, and not just have the 3-day itinerary and have to see, you know, the main tourist attractions and head out. You can really savor different places, which has been fun.
For Anders, Coast-Fi was this really empowering concept that allowed him to rearrange his work life so that he could spend more time with his family and also enjoy traveling at a slower pace. Flexibility is a major theme in his story, and so to make it a little bit more relatable, I asked Anders to walk us through a typical day for him.
To spend more time as a family, I still want to get out and exercise. I want to play pickleball. I want to see my friends. So I've even tucked that, you know, early in the morning. This morning I got up at 5:30. I played pickleball from 5:30 to 7:30. I get home, we have breakfast as a family for like the next 2 hours as we figure out how to get the kids fed and get Ruth out of her pajamas and, you know, just keep the peace in the home. And then we typically will go on a walk as well sometime in the morning, or take Ruth to the park, or today we'll go to dance class together. That'll be really fun. So yeah, I feel seriously so lucky as a dad to even to say that I can take my daughter to dance class on like a random Tuesday morning at 10:30. That's really, really lucky. Wednesdays we go to story time at the library, and yeah, just there's a lot of fun, cool things you can do with your kids when you have a more flexible lifestyle. So yeah, typical day, you know, work a few hours, play a lot of hours, hang out with the kids, and just really, you know, hang out as a family and that kind of stuff. So it's cool that I even have the option to just tuck work around the edges of life instead of tucking life around the edges of work. It makes so much more sense to do it this way.
Anders has radically embraced change, and he did it with what seems like relative ease. And so I asked him what advice he would have for others who are considering a similar change. Here's what he says.
Yeah, I would say for anybody that's thinking about coasting to financial independence, really the first step is just go calculate your coast-fi number, because that's going to give you an idea of how much you even need to have saved right now that it'll grow into the amount you need at a future date. That gives you, at that point it's the option. You have the understanding of what you would need to coast, but of course you don't have to continue pursuing it. It's just you have a better understanding, and the best place to do that is going to be to go to the Fioneers website, download that coast-fi calculator, and then plug in your numbers. It's very easy to use, and you can go ahead and calculate your coast-fi number.
And that's how we're going to end today's video with Anders. I hope you all appreciated this new format of video. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you feel empowered to make that big lifestyle change that you've been thinking about for a long time. So let's all do it together. Let's take that big leap. Thanks for watching and enjoy the journey.